Today is a very auspicious day. Yesterday, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and his father Jagannath Mishra is today observing Anandotsav. Means he's very happy that he got a son. And I read in Chaitanya Bhagavat that it is not much described, only that Jagannath Mishra was very happy in Ananda, and also Sachi Mata and all the neighboring people. All were very happy. You will find more description in how Nanda Maharaj did this festival Anandotsav in Bhagavatam for Krishna, but in Chaitanya Bhagavat for Mahaprabhu not so much, only that they were very happy. But all Gauriya devotees on today's day, they will make some big feast and they will distribute prasad to all. So in this way it is observed. And we are hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, the topic about bull and cow and Parikit Maharaj and Kali Maharaj. So Parikit Maharaj asked Bull, who did this to you? Then Bull said, something it is nature, something it is time, something, so many different things, but ultimately his conclusion was, there are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation, nor know it by imagination, nor express it by words. O sage amongst kings, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. There is one question in Vedanta Sutra, can Brahman, means Supreme Lord, be expressed by words or not? Then some say, no, it is impossible. And there are some Upanishadic verses they give that Navacho Nivartante, speech cannot attain him. But Vyasadeva replied, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Baladevi Bhushan, that he can be expressed by words, but not completely. Otherwise, scripture would be useless. So it is not that you cannot say nothing, but it is also not that you can fully express by words. But those words which are describing him by Shastra and by realized soul, they are helpful, and we can get proper idea for Sambandha, our relation with him, and about our duty to him, Avideya, and what is ultimate goal. And if one will accept this and practice, then he can realize what is meant by those words, and also that unlimited reality which is beyond words. It cannot fully describe, but that does not mean that they say it is impossible, nothing. No, that is also not true. Jiva Goswami also said in Tattva Sandarbha, otherwise scripture would be useless and sadhu speaking Harikatha is useless, but it is not. So Bull said in this way, Sutta Uvach. So here Sai Maharaj telling that Maharaj Parikit was thus put to test for his greatness. Now let us see how he solves it by his sagacious mind. Sutta Uvach. Evam dharme pravadati sasamradvija satamaha samahite namanasa vikedah parya chashtatam. Sutta Goswami said, O best among the Brahmanas, the Emperor Parikit, thus hearing the personality of religion speak, was fully satisfied, and without mistake or regret, he gave his reply. Rajovach. Dharma bravishi dharmagya dharmosi vrisharupadrik yat adharma krita stanam suchakasyapi tadbhavet. The king said, O you who are in the form of a bull, you know the truth of religion, and you are speaking according to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator of irreligious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are no other than the personality of religion. The destination of perpetrator and one who identifies perpetrator are same. So here I will read commentary. A devotee's conclusion is that no one is directly responsible for being a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, he does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is His grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent. But in case of loss or reverses, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord could be so unkind to his devotee as to put him in great difficulty. Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such great difficulty, being crucified by the ignorant, but he was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way of accepting a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner, like the mischief monger. By God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses. Maharaj Parikshit observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was no other than the personality of religion himself. In other words, a devotee has no suffering at all, because so-called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. The cow and bull never placed any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali, although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities. The extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion. This is very difficult to realize. Even to understand is not so easy, but to realize, to be established in that is not so easy. You have to be totally free of all false egos, false desires, everything. It is not so easy practically. There in 14th chapter, 10th canto, we are always hearing Tate nukampam susamikshamanam. One who sees very thoroughly, minutely, completely, purely, he can see God's grace in all circumstances. Nothing can happen without the sanction of Supreme Lord. If he sanctions something and he is all good, Krishna has no faults, he is all good. So it is good, but we are unable to realize how that is good if we have some separate desires. Krishna is not making anyone suffer, but Krishna is giving the fruits of our actions. And those fruits are intended to make us understand that this action was wrong. If we did not believe and follow the Shastra and to what is good action, what is bad, then we have to realize. So that is also good for us, to give us lesson. If one can take it in that way, he can see God's grace. Then in that case, he will not blame anyone else for his own suffering. It is impossible for him because he knows God is giving that. That person who is doing this mischief to me is instrumental only, not the actual cause. Cause is my previous action, and now Krishna is just giving the fruit of that my action through this person. So if anyone blames others for his own suffering, that means he is also sinner. He is also this miscreant, mischief monger also. Why? Because this blaming is false. He's thinking that person is to be blamed for my suffering. That is wrong. So when I become angry and hostile or want to take revenge or like this, I am also sinner. Immediately I become a sinner. An identifier of perpetrator in the sense of blaming him and not seeing Krishna behind that. If with such mentality I go, then that is also sin. But that does not end also, our Gurudev also told this, where Sai Maharaj here said that by the grace of God, those devotees who are fully surrendered to Him, they are chanting Mahamantra purely, they are able to see God's grace and they are able by His grace to tolerate everything. Tolerant as a tree. Gurudev told in this world, there are always ups and downs for everything. And the difference between conditioned soul and realized soul is that realized soul, by the grace of God, has the power to tolerate. But conditioned soul cannot. He will suffer. So if such mentality of wrongly blaming someone is there, that is also sin. And by committing this type of sin, we cannot realize Krishna. That is why Mother Suniti told to Dhruva, if you will blame your stepmother for your suffering or your father, then you cannot satisfy Supreme Lord. You cannot get him. So you have to give up this wrong mentality. But that does not mean that devotee does not see in other conditioned souls what are good activities and what are bad activities. He sees this. And he does not support bad activities and also condemns bad activities and supports good activities, but without wrong blaming. Then that is another thing. But if blaming is there, that is wrong. Otherwise, Shastra would also be useless. You will find in Shastra, which is given by Krishna, there is dharma and there is adharma. When you are following Varna Ashram Dharma, according to your Varna and Ashrama, there are certain duties you have to do. They are good activities, they are karma. Then you have some vikarma or adharma, sinful activities, and it is also individual for whom, what kind of sin. That is wrong activity, and there is also akarma, means someone does not want to do his own duty. That is also wrong. So if everything would be done like by Krishna, like we are only dolls, then scripture would be useless. This is also in Vedanta Sutra, one topic is there. Is the jiva doer, and does the jiva have free will to do this action or that action? Then there are so many doubts by Shastric evidence. No, in Gita it is said that if someone thinks activity is done by himself, which are actually done by Prakriti, by material energy, then he's in false ego. So Prakriti is doing everything, Jiva is not doing anything. Like so many evidences you will find. But that is misunderstanding of what Shastra wants to say. So in Vedanta Sutra you will find that Jiva is the doer, but not only factor in the action. In the last chapter of Gita, you will find there are 5 factors in worldly action: the senses, then that material action, body, and Jiva, and also Supreme Lord. All 5 are always there. But if someone thinks I am the only doer, everything is by my desire, and I am doing it, that is false ego. So then in Vedanta Sutra is nicely explained that if Jiva would not be the doer, if Jiva would not have any free will, then all scripture would be useless. For whom, like injunctions to do this sacrifice would be meant. Do this sacrifice, or if you do this, you will get this. If Brahmins should not drink alcohol, that. So for whom it would be? It would be all useless. So here also in Shastra you will find dharma, dharma, sins and pious activity according to Varna Ashram Dharma. But in higher sense, what is for the service of Krishna is good activity, and what is against the service of Krishna is bad. That is why in the end Krishna told to Arjuna, don't think about dharma, adharma, these things. Or for Varnashram, don't think. Sarva dharma pariteja, you give up. You only think what I want. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. You surrender to me and do what I want. So that is ultimate. Dharma and adharma. So the realized soul, he will not blame anyone, but that does not mean that he is not seeing bad actions of jivas and giving support. No, not that. Here there is another point. If you wrongly blame someone with hostile mentality, not seeing the will of Supreme Lord behind that, and why this is happening to you because of your own previous actions, then such identification of perpetrator, he is causing me suffering, that would be also sin. So his sin and I blaming him for sin, we are both sinners, we will both get same destination. So it is not nature, it is not this, no, it is my action and Krishna giving result, and he is all good. We cannot understand, like mother is sometimes slapping child, but for his own good, because he wants to do something wrong. So mother has to beat out of affection. Someone from outside may think she's violent. No, it is for his good. Like that, whatever is happening to us, those who realize soul, they can see whatever is happening, it is for the eternal benefit of all, because Krishna is behind. He is making that arrangement to rectify jivas for their wrong actions and to inspire them to do right actions, ultimately means service of Krishna. So here Parikshit Maharaj understood, really you are religion personified, because those who are not in religion, they will have this blaming mentality. So yes, here also Simon had said that when we are getting something good like money and some good health and some worldly things, relations, all this, yes, God is very merciful to me. But when suffering is coming, then we think either God is cruel or all others are guilty for this. We cannot see the grace of God behind that. But we have to learn this if we want to progress in devotion. Yes. Jesus Christ was also, sometimes also it happens, Krishna wants to give some teaching to the people and wants to sing the glories of his devotees. Like Haridas Thakur, he had no mistake. But in order to show to the people how devotee thinks and what is his position, that he's really not suffering, even if someone does something wrong to him, or like Jesus Christ, like Prahlad, like this, they had no fault. But Krishna wants to show to people that devotees, they are beyond this suffering. They are not actually suffering because they are beyond, and they see it, they accept it as a grace of Krishna. Then immediately it is another thing. But for conditioned souls, we have to understand that our suffering is due to our own misdeeds. No one else is to be blamed. They may be instrumental through whom it comes, and they will also get their fruit of that action, but that is not my business. I have to understand that why I am suffering and how I have to rectify so that I can remove suffering and get actual bliss. And this is all arrangement of Krishna. Not only in the temple Krishna is there, and there Krishna is merciful. Krishna is everywhere, and he is merciful everywhere. Everything is meant not only in the mat, like a hospital. Whole world is mat, if you can see it like that, because Krishna is everywhere, and Krishna is making all arrangement to make us understand. Atavadeva mayaya nunam gatira gochara chetasavacha saschapi bhutanam iti nishchayaha. Thus it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. So at first, Dhruva was very angry on his father and stepmother, both with hostile mentality. Then mother told him, you should not blame, and Dhruva accepted. So Krishna was happy with him, and he went to forest, and because Krishna protected him, no animals, no one could do anything, although it is their nature to kill human being, but they could not do anything. Krishna is controlling them. So Dhruva, just by surrendering to Krishna and accepting the truth, even those who have ferocious nature could not do anything to him, and Dhruva did not go to his stepmother and to his father and demanding, why you are misbehaving with me, you should behave nicely with me. Why? He did not demand, but it automatically happened. Because Dhruva accepted Supreme Lord, that ferocious animals could not do anything to him, and there was a reaction in their heart, they automatically became favorable to him. Even Suruchi mother, she blessed him when he came home. Blessed him, automatically change. But if we think we have to change others, we have to demand, you should behave with me like this, then we will only create more and more disturbance. We always have to rectify ourselves then that is the solution to the problem. And how we have to rectify is given by Shastra and Guru, how we have to practice, what we have to understand, what we have to accept. Then when we rectify, automatically everything will become favorable. Thus it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. Commentary: a question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying a nectar, although he knows definitely that the Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer. To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible for everything done by his deputed Maya Shakti or material energy. The material energy is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of the Lord. The personality of religion knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, and still he was put into doubts by the deluding energy, and thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. The doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and the material energy. The whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. Krishna is also not directly, but he is behind everything. Maya is also not forcefully giving us trouble. It is due to our own aversion to Krishna that we are being punished by Maya to realize our mistake. There you will find in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad the speech was polluted by the demons. When it becomes polluted by the demons, then because all senses, they have their devata, that presiding deity, but if it is spoiled by the demons, then a person will speak a lie, and that is a great sin. Generally, we don't think lying, everyone lying, what is problem? But according to Shastra, to speak lie is a great sin, very great sin. And also it was said by Sridhar Maharaj, he quoted from one Shastra, but there is no, we could not find that. But it is stated that epidemics and so many these things, they are coming when this lying reaction is accumulated so much, especially by those who are like in courts, judges, and those who have some position, they have to judge properly. But because of bribes and they are lying or giving false all these things, when such sins, they are accumulated so much, they pollute the atmosphere, then this is the reaction, natural catastrophe like this. Our Gurudev also told that they are killing innocent people and so many things. They are polluting the atmosphere, and reaction will have to come. So if you read there, this is a serious sin to speak lie. But now in Kali Yuga you will find everyone. It's very difficult to find someone who will speak the truth because lying is practical for them, for some purposes they are doing, but to speak the truth, you will always, they will feel we will lose something. But according to Shastra, and also we find in Mother Earth, in Bhagavatam, and in the case of Jayadev Goswami there, they were lying against Jayadev Goswami. So Mother Earth could not tolerate it. She opened herself and took all those lying robbers in herself, means she killed because of that. So it is not so innocent, this thing. So whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy. More Rajoguna, Tamoguna is predominating. So people are prone to commit sins more. And the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. Tapa shaucham dvaya satyam iti padah krita kritah adharmam shais trayo bhagna smaya sangamadestava. In the age of Satya Yuga, your 4 legs were established by the 4 principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But it appears that 3 of your legs are broken due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust for women, and intoxication. Tapa means austerity they could do in Satya Yuga. All, but in, that is why you find Dhruva doing tapasya, Hiranyakashipu also doing great tapasya, and others. For a long time they could do without food, without water, and all they could tolerate. Then in Treta it became degraded. It was not possible for majority, for general, it was not possible to do tapasya, austerity. So meditation was not prescribed for that age, as in Satya Yuga. They could do meditation because their mind was stable because of austerity, not given to the senses. They were not under the control of the senses, so mind was stable. But in Treta, this tapa was not possible, so meditation was not possible. So the rishis, they prescribed, you have to offer the objects of your senses, means all the articles, to Supreme Lord by the means of sacrifice to Supreme Lord. In that way you will get concentration of Him through this action. Meditation you cannot do. But they will get same result through that practice. And in Dwapar, one more was less, this cleanliness. You cannot find pure articles for yagya, ghee, and even place for yagya has to be pure. There should not be any bones inside, below. And in desert is not pure, and there is this purity and impurity of place and of articles. So that was not there. And also purity of brahmanas was there. So they could utter mantras properly, and the result you can get. But in Dwapar, the shaucha was also lost, cleanliness. So you cannot find proper Brahmins and pure articles. So yagya was not prescribed. So the prescribed was deity worship. You have to engage all your senses in the service of deity. Then you will get that fruit of concentration on Supreme Lord. But in Kali, even that quality of doya, mercy, to that inclination to do good to others, that is also lost. You will find, although Kauravas and Pandavas, they were like, Kauravas were envious of Pandavas, but when there was a problem with Gandharva, then they united for that same purpose. And one devotee asked our Gurudev how we can make this in college, now to like unite Vaishnavas and people for same like this. Then Gurudev said that was possible. That case, Kauravas and Pandavas, in that case it was possible because that was Dwapar Yuga. Mercy was there, Dwaya. But in Kali Yuga, Dwaya is also not there, mercy. Only truthfulness is there, and a very small degree by those who are chanting Harinam, holy name. Otherwise, it's very difficult to find truthfulness. So, in Kali Yuga, even deity worship you cannot do, generally and in that standard. But main thing is you have to chant Harinam. By that you can get all fruits, but you have to do sincerely, without offenses. If other things are assisting chanting of Harinam, they may be accepted, and in a way, simplified way that is possible in Kali Yuga, like Yagya and deity worship, in simplified way to give us some like scope to engage all the senses and these sense objects. But the main thing is everything has to be done with Harinam. Otherwise it will not work. So 3 of your legs are broken in Kali Yuga. Idanim dharma padaste satyam nirvartayet yata tam jigrikshati adharmo yam anritenai dhitah kali. You are now standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other hobbling along. But quarrel personified, Kali, flourishing by deceit, is also trying to destroy that leg. Yes, here, Swami Maharaj also saying, this Dwapar to half and this age of Kali to 1/4, which is also gradually diminishing on account of prevailing untruthfulness. By pride, either artificial or real. Like I'm boasting. I'm not that much qualified, but I'm presenting myself and speaking, I'm so qualified, but I'm not. So that is artificial pride. Or someone may have real pride. He really has qualities, but he's proud. That is also not good, but is better than one who is having artificial. So by pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, yes, by pride, austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association or male association in sexual pleasure, cleanliness is spoiled. And in unclean mind, you cannot remember Krishna. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. That is why you will find those who are eating and drinking alcohol, they are also eating meat. And those who are selling meat, they are also selling alcohol. Always they are together, you will find in business. Meat and intoxication. Mercy is lost. And austerity is of course lost. If you If you take intoxicants, you cannot do any austerity. Impossible. And you become bewildered and so many things. And by too much lying, propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavad Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to evils of all description. There is so much propaganda. They're lying like anything for their own purpose to deceive. But what to do? This is Kali Yuga. For their own selfish interests and making things up. And Iyam cha bhumir bhagavata nyasi toru bharasati SRIMAD bistat pada nyase sarvataha krita kautuka. The burden of the earth was certainly diminished by the personality of Godhead and by others as well. When he was present as an avatar, all good was performed because of his auspicious footprints. Shochati ashru kala sadvi durbhage vojita sati abramanya nripavyaja shudra bokshyanti mam iti. Now she, the chaste one, being unfortunately forsaken by the personality of Godhead, laments her future with tears in her eyes, for now she is being ruled and enjoyed by lower class men who pose as rulers. Commentary. The Kshatriya, or the man who is qualified to protect the sufferers, is meant to rule the state. Untrained lower class men, or men without ambition to protect the sufferers, cannot be placed on the seat of an administrator. Unfortunately, in the age of Kali, the lower class men, without training, occupy the post of a ruler by strength of popular votes, and instead of protecting the sufferers, such men create a situation quite intolerable for everyone. We are seeing such rulers illegally gratify themselves at the cost of all comforts of the citizens, and thus the chaste Mother Earth cries to see the pitiable condition of her sons, both men and animals. That is the future of the world in the age of Kali, when irreligiosity prevails most prominently. And in the absence of a suitable king to curb irreligious tendencies, educating the people systematically in the teaching of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM will clear up the hazy atmosphere of corruption, bribery, blackmail, etc. But also, it is not possible to educate the masses, because they not all are ready to hear. Very few are ready to hear. Very few ready to follow, those who have Sukriti. But some oases can be there, some pure temples, some pure households. Such tendencies may be removed. But you will not find in Kali Yuga like critical mass we will achieve and the world will become heaven and like this. That is not possible. Even only like if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants, he made that time in India, or some powerful preacher, they can make some mass thing. But generally, it will not be possible to make mass. But that does not mean that if not mass, then everything is useless. No. We have to first try ourselves to purify ourselves, to give up all demoniac tendencies, and then help others how much is possible. We have to do our duty and how much people with Sukriti they will accept that is also valuable. Like Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj told to our Gurudev, you should go to Western countries, you should spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that in this age of Kali, they can worship Supreme Lord by chanting Harinam. You should go. Whether they will accept or not, or how many will accept or not, that is not your business. Your business is to give this message as your duty to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it is his order that his teaching should be spread all over the world. So you have to do this duty, and also some will accept. So if you will not go, then you will deprive those. So why you want to deprive? When I told to Gurudev when he was in Slovenia that maybe today not so many people will come, then Gurudev immediately removed that, my wrong mentality that now maybe Gurudev will be disappointed. Said, no, why you are thinking? Those who have Sukriti, they will come. And he also told that Shukadev Goswami, he came for one person, Parikshit Maharaj, to say to him. So even if one person is there to accept, Krishna will send that person, and that person to serve Krishna, that Guru will go there, even for one person. So those who are real devotees, they're only wanting to satisfy Krishna, to serve him. They're not seeing quantity and how much money, how much fame, all this. No, they're only interested in the service of Krishna. So they want to help those jivas who have Sukriti so that they can worship Supreme Lord. So you should not be concerned about this. We have to do our service, and if even no one is there to accept of conditioned souls, we will do Kirtan Bhakti. We will do Kirtan Bhakti to satisfy Krishna. And Gurudev gave example of Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj. He was doing Kirtan for hours together, like 6 hours, 8 hours, in front of Samadhi of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur alone. There was no one there to listen. Oh, he's singing very nicely, how nice tune, and there's a very big bliss and like this. No. He was singing to satisfy Prabhupada. There was no any other listener, and he's not concerned about pleasing listeners with nice music. That is totally absent in him. The real devotee's target is only to satisfy Krishna. So devotees, they do kirtan, they sing the glories of Krishna, and that is automatically preaching. No need to make any separate endeavor. Kirtan Bhakti is preaching, but we have to do for satisfaction of Krishna, then it will be our practice, and also preaching, same time, it will be service. So if someone will be sent by Krishna, you have to preach, he will sing the glories of Krishna everywhere, whether no one accepts, or many accepts, or no one will listen, or some will listen, or many will listen, that is not his concern. His concern is service of Krishna by Kirtan Bhakti. Iti dharmam mahim chatva santvayitva maharata nishatam adade kadgam kalaya dharma hetave. Maharaj Parikshit, who could fight 1,000 enemies single-handedly, thus specified the personality of religion and the earth. Then he took up his sharp sword to kill the personality of Kali, who is the cause of all irreligion. He's a very powerful king, empowered. Tam jigyam sum abhipretya vihayan ripalanchanam tat padamulam shirasa samagat bhaya vihvala. When the personality of Kali understood that the king was willing to kill him, he at once abandoned the dress of a king and, under pressure of fear, completely surrendered to him, bowing his head. Then what happens next, we will hear tomorrow. It is the same when we fully submit to Krishna. Then by Krishna's grace, Kali cannot harm us. And by Krishna's grace, we will be able to see in this world what is going on. This cheating is going on, this lying, this violence is going on, undercover also. Because here, he was dressed as a king, like as a ruler, but he was a Shudra and committing violence to religion. So when Parikshit Maharaj, who is empowered to protect, that is also like devotee, or when someone in someone's heart devotion is awakened, then by that eye of devotion, by the grace of Krishna, he can detect reality, what is going on. So here he could not hide anymore. He put off that dress and revealed who he was. So a real devotee, they can also observe in this world what is going on in proper perspective. No one can cheat him, no one can deceive him, because he can see everything by the grace of Krishna. Our Gurudev also told one brahmachari came and he was lying something to Gurudev, explaining some situation, and he was lying. Then when he left the room, then Gurudev told to another devotee there, he is lying. Then this devotee asked Gurudev, how you know? Then Gurudev said, if someone has pure heart, then everything is reflected in his heart, like in mirror. He can see everything as it is. As it is. No one can cheat him. And really it was found out later on that brahmachari was lying and there was problem and all this. So no one can deceive Krishna, and no one can deceive a person who is surrendered to Krishna, and by his grace he can see what is going on. No one can deceive him. Here also he was not able to deceive him. So he surrendered, like Rupa Goswami told in Upadeshamrita. One who can control these senses by the power of devotion, he can govern the whole world. Like Maharaj Parikshit. So only one who subdued all demoniac tendencies in himself by the grace of Krishna, he can instruct others, he can see others, and he can help others. Otherwise, if I am full of demoniac mentality, how I can help others? Impossible. First I have to be by the grace of Krishna, then I can help others. Because then I will not come under the influence of that. Tomorrow we will hear what will happen next.